Okay, about a year or so ago, I done a video on the charging system on this truck, which wasn't charging. And on a Ford truck, they call it a smart charging system. I'm going to show you my charging system. There it is. That's my charging system on this F-160. So I've been to Ford dealerships, Chevrolet dealerships. I've been to practically every garage in 3 counties, and that's no joke. Only to come to find out that everybody that I've talked to and everybody that's seen this go, huh, never seen anything like that. So, as an old feller said that I used to work with, is I don't understand all I know about this. But here's what I did. I took this thing right here. It's got some fusible links, which we checked, and it checked to be good. So, anyway, I unhooked it. I unhooked down here on the bottom that goes to the alternator. I unhooked it right there. And I took this wire, another cable, hooked it to the positive, hooked that to the alternator, so it's hooked straight from the battery to the alternator. Again, that's the third alternator. They all check good. This is the third battery. I just bought a new battery and put in it maybe 2 weeks ago. Alright, so let me tell you what this does. I eliminated this, hooked the cable straight to the battery to the alternator. Now what I understand this is supposed to do, when you start this up, you got 12.6, 12.7, 12.8, 12.5 volts. And I will show that on this battery. It shows that. I can ground it, put my hot post here, and it shows basically the same thing. Now, when I start it up, it'll stay right there. As soon as I turn the headlights on, or turn the air conditioner on, turn the heater on, whatever, there's a GenCom and Gem something else. Gen D-Wacky goes from here to here. So the alternator will tell the computer I need more juice. So it sends a message back which pulls more juice from the battery. So we should have around between 14 to 14.5 volts. Okay? So supposedly anywhere from 13.7 to 14.5 supposedly is what we're good to go with. So it'll hold 12.5, 12.7 volts until you turn things on, which tells the alternator, tells the computer I need more juice. So what it'll do, it'll pull more juice. Okay. So it does that. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. And when you turn everything off, then everything goes back down. You can put a gauge on it, which I've got a gauge. You can put a gauge on it, and you can watch the volts drop because it's no longer asking for 14 volts. So it will drop. So what that Ford come up with in 1999, for whatever reason, was this goofy smart charge thing, is to save the battery, save the alternator, and be fuel efficient. Well, it saves it all right, I guess. Because what it does is everything checks out just like it's supposed to do. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, with one exception. Whenever you drive it, or you demand anything from it, if you get it 1200, 2000 RPM, the voltage drops. It starts pulling juice out of the battery, and you can see the voltage drop. instead of holding steady, it drops. Now, I took the positive cable off. I took the negative cable off. And I put my tester on just the cable end and the negative side of the battery, which told me that there's a little, what they call a parasitic drain. What that means is there's something inside the truck somewhere that's pulling juice. Now they claim as long as it's supposed to be zeros all the way across the board, but because I've got a clock and because it's got an alarm system, it pulled 0.23 volts or ohms or whatever. Anyway, it's pulling a little bit out. So if I found where that fuse was to that anti-theft or the clock and I pulled it out, I'm sure they'd kill it. But still, even at that, when the alternator demands more voltage and it puts more voltage in, that should keep everything charged up. That 0.23 volts or whatever it is, less than a half a volt, quarter volt, shouldn't affect anything that much. But again, every time I take this to somebody and they put a meter on it and they sit there and watch that thing, they say, huh, I never seen anything like that before. And I guess I've got the only one in the world that does it, because I can't even find anybody on the internet that's had this kind of trouble. Here's the other end. You see this right here? Okay, that went here, and this is the end that goes here. Now, when I put this on, it did make a difference. Actually, it raised the voltage from 13.5 to 14.0, 14.1. So that tells me there's probably something wrong here. But since that has a built-in regulator on it, I don't know. I'm assuming that helped it. I mean, it did help it, because you can put your meter on it and it come up 13. It come up a half volt from 13.5 to 14.1. That has been my battery charger. That has been charging my system for the last over a year. And depending on how much I drive it and what I have to use, whether it be heater, defroster, air conditioner, headlights, you can't drive it at night because your lights will go out and your battery go dead in a short amount of time. But you can put a meter on it and it shows it's just fine. But it's not just fine, because it's pulling juice out of the battery. Now, I can show you here that you see there's a gauge right there. And when it's running, I don't care what you do with it, right there's where she stays. So, it'll stay right there till it gets ready to completely die. But the battery light will come on within about 30 to 35 seconds, usually around 32 seconds. And so there you have it, the Ford Smart Charging System. So if you got any ideas, I know somebody out there somewhere has run into this same problem. Now they say when they start going bad, when the computer starts going bad, your headlights will flash on and off, your windshield wipers start working, your horn, your lights on the inside, everything works like it's supposed to. Everything works like it's supposed to. With the exception that as you drive it or have on-demand power from it, then it discharges. So, Ford power. Ford Smart Charging System, right there.